a lot of you are asking questions like, I want to get into voice acting and I don't know where to start, or I want to get into animation. And as these videos roll out, we're going to actually have sort of little tutorials on how to be a voice actor and how to find your own voice, and we're going to be talking to casting directors. But I know there's a lot of young women who have been curious because of you. They look up to you as like an inspiration, and are constantly asking me questions to ask you. So I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, ask away.
If you could give any little bit of advice to someone who is just starting out or wants to get into this business, and what kind of steps should they take? And also, you know, because not everything works for, you know, what works for you may not work for the other person. Yep. But is there anything that's happened to you along the way that, because hindsight's 20/20, things that you have found out on your journey that maybe if you would have known about if you were a teenager starting out, that you may apply or start doing now?
I think that I would have gone to a class, perhaps. I mean, I still might, because one thing I know is that you have to always be open to learning, and there's always more to learn and always more to know. You can always get better. And there are lots of, at least, you know, I'm speaking for the city of Toronto, but I know that there are also classes in other cities, voice acting classes. I would also recommend taking an improv class. That's something that, you know, I never really considered myself an actor. I did do a little bit of on-camera acting work when I was a teenager, but it never was something that really appealed to me. But I took some Second City improv classes, and I did it because it terrified me. The thought of it just terrified me. But I knew that I would be so glad that I did it. And all of those skills that I learned in that class were very helpful. And I think that if it's something that you seriously want to pursue, you have to you have to find voice agents. You have to contact those voice agents and see if they're taking anybody on. Ask them what they would like to receive as far as a demo. And through the magic of technology, it's pretty easy to make a demo now. Even if you've got a laptop and a microphone, you can do it. And you know, work with your voice. Find out what your range is. See if you can find a character voice and stick with it like all day.
Find your true voice, and then start branching off from there.
Building on it, and you know, and I would say that you have to be tenacious and you have to be persistent. And again, you know, you don't take no for an answer. If it's something that you really want to pursue, you have to really know that you've done everything you can to pursue it. But get a demo out there, start seeing if there's an agent that's interested, and take their advice. If they give you any advice, take it. Don't take it as a rejection necessarily. Take it as, you know, places that you can learn and
something
grow.
to grow with. Yeah, for sure.
Because I thought, you know, I can see even myself how I've become a better voice actor and an actor over the last few years, getting the chance to work with good directors and work with other great actors. And
such as Christian Potenza.
Exactly. You may know him from the Trolls as Chris on Total Drama. Dude from 16.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned about finding your own voice, because there is a point too, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but for me, it was hard because I wanted to do all these different other kind of voices, but the one thing that kept coming back was the dude guy, the stone guy, and I was like, and I wasn't getting seen for, you know, the quirky guys and the da-da-da-da-da-da. They were just like, no, do the thing and do the laugh, the they just wanted to hear that, and I got sort of pigeonholed. So for the first little while, I fought against it, and I fought against it. I wasn't getting anywhere, and then I just said, you know what? I'm the dude guy. I owned it. That's me. That's who I am, naturally. I'm the stoner surfer guy. And since I did that and I embraced it, that's when it took off, and it went from there. And now I'm doing other voices, so it's about finding that balance.
What you mean, and it is about finding that balance, because I mean, if you do have something that you're good at, you should embrace that and go with it. And it happens in the music business too. People like to put, people in this box, and then the artists want nothing more than to just get out of that box. And meanwhile, there's all these people looking in from the outside going, I'd be the dude guy if you just let me.
I know.
Embrace that. And so I agree. I mean, I've often been cast as...
Have you been pigeonholed?
Well, I think it happens. You have something that you do well, this sort of bossy girl.
That's your thing.
Yeah. Or teen girl, or... ditzy, bossy girl, whatever. I've definitely done a lot of those. But I've also been really fortunate, and I've pushed myself and again, sort of muscled my way in sometimes in auditions, saying, let me read for this, let me try that.
You got to assert yourself a little bit,
assert yourself a little bit, and stuff comes out of it. For instance, with Stoked, I went in to read for some of the main characters, and I think that they wanted to sort of move away from some of the familiar voices that we'd heard, and I think a lot of us...
Yeah, like this guy, like as if this guy wouldn't get on a cartoon about surfing. I'm just saying, but they did have a point. It was like, you know what? I ended up sounding like Jude, and you couldn't cross-contaminate the two shows, even though they were by the same company.
I want fresh voices, and I told again, you have to understand that and not take it personally. And things have cycles, and you also don't want to be totally overexposed in a way too, because that can have a backlash. But so I read for some of the girls on Stoked, like Low, and then in the audition, they said, hey, why don't you read for Low's mom, Mrs. Ridgemount? And that's the part I ended up getting cast as. And it's nice for me because it's a little bit of a departure. She's like the cool mom, wants to be friends and hip and hang out with her daughter, and the daughter's like rolling her eyes. So that's been fun for me to do that and just stretch myself a little bit,